Okay. So here's an exercise that I do with my students when I'm teaching them Gravity Sketch. I'm just going to bring in these two images here from the reference images section, and it was just we create a duck. You see, so these are not locked to the world yet. So I'm just going to grab them, hit the blue menu button, and that will lock them to the environment. That will snap when I move that to the center line. That will snap, and I'm just going to. Let's just. I'll leave them at the same size. I think they're already the right size. In fact, you know what? Let's not. Let's scale them just so we show how we rescale the pictures. So there's my duck that snapped nicely to that center plane. I want this one to also snap, but it will only snap the center of the image. Will snap to the plane. So then I'm going to use my precision move tool. Oops, messed that up because I moved it I moved it along Z plane. I want to scale this. Let's move it up over here so we can see where we're at. We can always snap it back to the center plane in a second. So I've got the front just about right. Now I'm going to pick the center of scaling to be at the front there, and that looks about right. It's slightly too long. Actually, that's pretty good now. Okay. Annoying thing in Gravity Sketch, because the center of the image is right there at the axis, it keeps wanting to jump back. So I'm going to have to move these away from the this axis in order so that I can set these up in the correct X, that they don't keep jumping. So now I'm going to grab these two images, group them together, and I'm going to drop them on a layer. Let's call that layer images. So this is essentially, so typically when I'm working on automotive stuff, I'll do lines and such like, and then build the surfaces out from the lines. That's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is just to get kind of used to building something. I don't know, that's annoying that comes in like that. So I'm going to have to rotate this round by 45 degrees so it's come in square. And I don't know why sometimes Gravity Sketch does some things that are a little peculiar. I'm just going to turn that now into a subdivision object, and there's already an edge loop there in the middle, so I'm just going to, oh, no. That was weird. Why was that? Oh, I know why. Because when it turned into, okay, let me just cycle back, point out a weird thing here. Okay, so when I turned that into a subdivision object, because it was crossing the center line, it deleted what was on the other side of it, so it deleted half of it. It's kind of a weird explanation, I know, but trust me, there's some weird stuff that goes on sometimes. Okay, so we basically got a oops, a rough volume here. Now that box. Now actually, I actually prefer to work on this side, but I've got the edit points on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do this bake mirrored, and that's going to make the entire thing unmirrored, but have everything with edit points. Delete out that half, and then put mirrored back on again. And now I've got the edit points on this side. This is the side I prefer to work on. So you see if I turn subdivision on, yep, that this cube, not cube, but rectangle box shape subdivides into that kind of an oval shape. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add some more. I'm going to add some more edge loops just to give us a bit more control over the shape. And let's just do. How many should we do? Let's do like this. Okay. Now, let's put this guy on its own layer. This is surfaces. Okay, and if I drop that down, I can actually see through the duck here. So now if I go in and I can grab that entire edge loop, so I'm going to put my grab sphere over that one of those edge loops. I'm going to pull my trigger on my non-drawing hand, and it's going to select the entire edge loop. Notice on that box there that this one here highlights. This will auto select the edge loop. So if I select that, I don't have to do anything with my left hand. It will just select the entire edge loop, all surface loops as well. Look, but I like to use the shortcut, which is my trigger, because I don't always want to select the edge loops in its entirety. And actually, if I select the entire one, and then I'm going to grab it, now I can actually move that up and down. So I use the smart move select. You see that blue line? That's because I've set it up as a smart move. And then actually, now I'm going to use the joystick on the top of my right hand just to shrink it down a bit. So I toggle it just a little bit to the left, and you see how it reduces down. So the cross section here is much smaller, and it's getting smaller there. So I'm just going to reduce that down. Maybe I've slightly overdone it. And on the back here, I'm going to grab a bit of air and then toggle the joystick to the right to make it into a square selection. And I'm going to grab all those surfaces. In fact, let me grab them. Let me do the same again. Let me select, select it with the smart move enabled by stacking my controllers, and then I can actually, move this like this. And maybe I want to move them a bit further forwards. And then I'm actually going to grab all that. I'm going to extrude it out like this. I'm going to hit it again. And this is a bit peaky there, but that's okay. Don't worry. Let's just go in, bang it with our smoothing tool, which we access by hitting that hammer and the paintbrush on the top of our right hand, top of our dominant hand, drawing hand. Anyway, now we've got sort of a rough shape. I'm going to use my very, very useful is to be able to use this proportional move function. So this is the grab. I make the grab sphere nice and big, grab a bit of thin air, and then pull back on the controller. Pull back on the joystick. Sorry, on the top there you see that joystick moving, rocking backwards and forwards, corresponding with the sphere that's inside it. Now that is the that will kind of put us in this proportional move tool. So which means that if I touch that, if I just get that, excuse me, if you just get that one edit point, I can move my hand a long way and have a little bit of influence over it, which gives me much greater control over the points. So I'm just going to start moving these into kind of a shape of a duck. You have to be careful we don't move it too much too close to the center line. Otherwise, all these ones here are going to want to snap to it. So I'm just going to undo that. And in fact, you know what? Right now, I'm just going to delete this whole edge loop out, and we're going to focus on this for now, so we don't have that snapping to the center line, which is quite frustrating. And this is just the whole point of this is just to give us a little bit of practice pulling edit points around, grabbing complete edge loops, and you'll see we'll extrude something out to make the head in a second. Let's try to make it a bit less like a loaf of bread. I'm going to need to put that loop back in now so I can get some shape to this front one. I mean, there's loads of different ways of doing this. This is just one of them. Making it from a subdivided cube, but it's pretty quick. And if I hit that with the smoothing brush, it's just going to start to pull. Because I set the kind of the perimeter around the back here, or the center line, and now this is going to, if I hit this with a smoothing brush, it's just going to kind of pull these into some semblance of, so it sort of relaxes the points. Is probably the easiest way to describe it. So if I turn that off, the rate of change between surfaces, it will kind of see this bottom point here is quite sticky out. That's a great technical term. But actually, look, you see how this is like that. If I hit that one, hopefully it's going to pop out. There you go, it pops out. So obviously this smoothing tool only has, it's limited in use. It's not going to do everything for you, but once you've figured out the layout of your topology, it can help reduce some of those sharp changes in direction of your edge loop, so that result in a kind of a weird surface. Okay, so let's turn subdivision back on. So I'm going to just I've got these edge loops here that run and sort of come forwards. I actually think that they should probably move back so that there's a kind of a nicer continuity across these edge loops have got kind of a bit more nice continuity. Sometimes wish these points were not white because it makes them quite difficult to see on anything that's not on a white background. But anyway, yes, hopefully you kind of get the point. Maybe what I really need now is what I want to do is I want to take the surfaces here and I want to extrude them up to create the head shape. You see how this edge loop here kind of, well, that's not the actual position of the edge loop, or sorry, when you look at the contours, the actual, yeah, you see now that the edge loop is the white dotted one, but the contour is the black one. So I actually probably want to move this back here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 and delete that one. And then I've still got kind of a reasonably consistent mesh density. And what I can do is I can now grab these 2 squares here and extrude them up to make the head. So I'm going to, on the top of my drawing hand controller, I can see that here's just edges, but I want to get to just surface selection, and I'm going to grab that. So that allows me just to grab those 2 surfaces, and I'm going to. I typically do move with Smart Move mostly because it kind of gives me more control. Then I don't have to worry about how the surfaces are sort of contorting. That's fixed like that, and now I can just use the joystick on the top of my drawing hand to kind of go out. And it doesn't matter how well this is done right now, because what we're going to do is we're going to go back in and control that layout of those points again. So I'm just going to turn back to full transparency, and I can just grab these points here, and let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I don't know where's the back of his head supposed to be. So that I can come here and again, I'm using the Smart Move tool, so it kind of stays more or less where it is after I let go, and I can just make that whole just juggling that joystick on top of my right hand. I could just make that a little bit bigger there. Okay, it's not perfectly spherical, but it's probably not supposed to be. I think maybe you might need a little bit more neck. Sorry. What am I doing? I'm trying to find a layer. That's right. Okay, that's not really matching the back of the sketch, is it? The back of his head. Although, I wonder whether that is really the right shape for the duck's head. But whatever. I mean, if that's what's been given to us by a designer, that's what we have to try and achieve, right? So then we got the duck body shape is done. Let's just make it yellow. And okay, now what do we got? Is we want to do the wings. So I'm just going to grab the image, and I'm just going to pull that out to here. Now I'll tell you what. Maybe I'm going to draw some lines over that. So I'm going to go to my point line here. So it's on point line, round, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, the number is not that critical. It does when you start getting into, shall we say, harder surface models and such like, but for now, don't worry about it. Toggle on loop, so we get a nice loop there. Okay, let's move this guy back to the center line, which it'll snap to. And let's make that a different color. Let's go red. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap that to the surfaces. So surfaces are unlocked, which is important. I need that in order to be able to snap. Turn that into edit mode, slide that across here, point snap to other objects and splines. And then let's just do it slowly, bit by bit. Okay. So now what I need to do is to control the distribution of the all these edge loops to actually give me a it's a bit thicker so we can see it. So we can follow that that wing shape. So I guess it's going to be these guys here. Oh, let's turn off snap. So just kind of controlling the distribution a little bit of these points. I think given that this negative here, I actually need to have two edge loops at the bottom of that. So I'm going to just add in another one here. We're only adding kind of edge loops where it's necessary, but in this case that is kind of necessary, and because I'd pulled these guys forwards, there was kind of a big gap here, so the distribution wasn't clear. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how we go. Now I can actually there's a couple of different ways of doing this, because now what I need to be able to do is to grab all of these surfaces, but I can't grab all of these surfaces with just my spherical grab sphere, because it's going to want to. I can grab those, but as soon as I try and get more, then I'm going outside of the wing. So what I'm going to do is I could do two things. I could grab that one and extrude it out. Okay, but I should do it smart move. Okay, let's just pull it out more than we need right now. And I'll just turn off subdivision so you can see what's happened. So it's actually added, it's basically pulled that out and added a face all the way around it. And if I do the same here, just like that. But now these guys will not join together because of these faces on the inside. So what I need to do is just go in and delete those faces out. And then this will, these will snap together. So now, and I'm going to add, what am I going to do? I'm going to add another edge loop here at the bottom, which for me is the negative, and then I need a pair of edge loops that define the top as well. So I'm actually going to do that. And this might look a little bit sharp right now, so let's just smash it with our, let's go out here and smash all this with our smoothing tool a bit. You see how it's relaxing those points. So where it was very sharp 90 degrees, so there was a great rate of change between that one to that one and that one to that one. Actually, what it's done is try to, reduce the rate of change by relaxing them. So now we can kind of pull these back into here. I need these two closer together because they are controlling that shape in there. So I've got, if I look at, so I've got, get anything here, sorry. So I've got, this is surface. Accidentally grabbed it and moved it, happens a lot. This guy here, I haven't sorted it out yet, but it will be. These will all have to run smoothly. That surface loop there is defining the radius. Then we've got one which is a bit of side surface, and then this last one is defining the negative, and before it gets to this edge loop, which is then the boundary to go out to the rest of the duck. So let's just, in fact, you know what, I'm going to delete this one out and then I'm going to put it back in again next to it because it kind of got all a bit wobbly, and I'm just going to shrink it down slightly that way. Okay. Well, it's not the worst. Let's move these guys up a bit. Okay. Now, the only thing missing is the eye. Sorry, the eye and the beak, sorry. So actually, where is the eye going to go? Let's just make it slightly transparent, and we kind of want the eye to be somewhere around here. So I've got this done with not so many edge loops. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add one here and add one here, and then delete this one. So to try and just to give a little bit more edge loops that will allow me to do that eye without affecting the surrounding surfaces. I'm going to put another one. Am I going to put another one in there? Let's just see. Let me just see what happens if I just grab this. Oh, it's stuck to the. Okay, yeah, I am going to put another one. Only adding extra topology where it's needed. In some ways, this is good because it's going to give us, at the moment it's a bit boat shaped, but it's going to give us better control into the of tangency as it comes into the front here. And also it's going to give us a nice quad there up on the head that we can extrude out and make into the eye. Sorry, extrude in and make into the eye. So see, I added, when I added that extra one, now it's made this corner much kind of sharper, so we kind of have to then redistribute our edit points here. Okay, so it's that square here, and if I just grab, so I don't have to move into just surface selection because I'm just selecting a single surface, so I can make my grab sphere small enough that it fits inside that. Grab it and trigger to extrude. Now just knock it very slightly smaller using the joystick on the top of my drawing hand, and then I'm going to trigger again, make that a little bit smaller still, and trigger again. So in doing so, I've added a number of edge loops here, or extruded it, adding a number of edge loops, and so this one here is defining the radius of dipping down, and this one here is defining the radius in the bottom of the fillet in the bottom. So I turn on kind of a manic looking duck, but it's okay. Right, and maybe let's just stick a, let's make a sphere here. Let's make that nice and small. Actually, oh man, let's do it this way. Wow, that is scary looking. And maybe let's do a, okay. Good, group those together, that's all done. Right, now we're going to do the beak. The beak is, I'm going to do this kind of typically as I would for like a motorcycle or anything if I was given a sketch. So I've got this, in fact let me just turn that off, drop that onto there, make a new layer, lines, and let's go to the red. Now I'm just going to draw this line here. And I'm just going to draw the center line, and I'm going to stop that line there, and then I'm going to make this line separate to that. And the reason for that is because this line is one that I'm going to pull out into 3 dimensions, but the center line is going to remain flat on the central plane. Again, this one I'm going to do as a separate. How am I? Yeah. Let me just. Okay. This happens. I don't know what causes it. I accidentally grabbed the wrong thing, so now I have to remember. Grab that image, anchor it again to the scene, but press back. I don't know. If there's a. I don't know. I'll probably edit this bit out. But if I didn't, there's a whole thing. And if you grab an image, that's why it's good to lock the images to the center plane. Sorry, lock the images full stop, as in make them so you can't grab them. So now if I lock the images, which I should have done to begin with. Okay, now I'm going to pull this guy out in 3D. this guy I'm going to pull out into 3D as well. I'm going to use my proportional move. So I can just do like this and it will move the ones at the back away. You see how it's snapping away from the center line? It's because they have these are mirrored. If I turned off mirrored, it would. Let's do that again without it, with mirrored turned off, and then it won't snap to the center plane. Then I can always snap them to the center plane afterwards. That's right, turn on mirrored again. So let's turn on mirrored again. And so let's have a look at our surfaces. So I need to make sure that this comes out wide enough, and this one also. Oops. So that's where the beak meets the head. And the opening of the beak, I guess it's probably going to be a bit wider than that. So kind of looking at that curve, and I'm going to match this curve to it, even though this one's not really very good. Let me lock those surfaces so I don't pick that. That was my wing line, so I don't need that anymore. I can actually grab both lines and then hold down the blue button, which will allow me to select both of them. So and after I've done that, I can actually grab my image and I can pull that image. I can smart move that image through it, and I can see how close my lines are. If I was strict and I'd only moved them using smart move, then they should already match perfectly up with it. So I'm just going to move those back ever so slightly. Use the smart move again to not really change the front view because I was kind of happy with the front view. Okay, these are rough guidelines. So, okay, let's turn off the image now. That one's got mirror turned on, so I can snap that. So it's this one, so that will snap to the center line. And now I just need to figure out how to surface this thing up. Let me look at that duck again. I'm just going to pull it out here. Now, you see by looking at it that there is a feature that runs around the kind of the jowl there. I actually think we need to get that in. So I'll do it roughly here, because that is one of our changes in direction, in light changing direction. light changing direction, surface changing direction, and being shown by the light that it's changing direction. Sorry. So what I can do is I can start to, I'm just going to turn off this center plane because it's a little bit annoying. Now let's go surfaces. Let's just do another one called beak. And we're going to start with actually I'm just going to do it white for now because I find it's much easier to see the white. And I'm going to go start directly with a sub D, not planar, not auto scale. That's it. So I'm going to do a ribbon surface here, and I'm going to start just this side of the center line, because when I mirror it, if that was hanging over the center line, it would delete out this last edit point, or that last surface. So I'm just grabbing the scene, pulling myself around. I'm pulling the scene around as I make my way along here. Let's see, mirror this. So that here forms the kind of this edge loop that runs around here is forming the first, I don't know, I want to say highlight, but it's not really a highlight, but I guess it is. It kind of follows the form. So I'm used to highlights. I'm used to talking as a modeler. And then we've got this other guy that's down there, but I'm not going to put that in just yet. I'm going to start on this one, and we'll extrude this one out. So if I grab that entire edge loop, I'm going to grab that and pull that down here. Now, this has done a load of stuff at the top here that's messed it up. That's okay. I don't really care. I'm just going to delete out that edge loop, and then I can grab that, select. Why is it not? Let me select that entire edge loop. So sometimes there is this thing where it doesn't let you select an entire edge loop off the edge of a ribbon, and that should definitely. So I'm going to try and select that surface loop instead. Okay. Oops, sorry. Oh, okay. It looks like I had actually double clicked. So let me just wind that back and show you. So actually, if I grab that, I can actually pull back on the joystick, and that I can see, and it separates those 2 points. So that is why it wouldn't select the entire edge loop, because I actually had my controller over 2 edge loops, and then I was trying to select it. So now it would do that. So it would select that one, and select that one. Okay, that wasn't a shortcut in the end, but I got to show you something, I guess. So all not lost. And now I'm going to make the other edge. Oh man, sorry. Yeah, I just figured out, didn't I, what was wrong? So I accidentally double clicked. So beware of that. Going to add another one in there just to give me a little bit more control over this curvature as it gets to the corner of the mouth here. Now I'm going to take this guy and extrude him up here, because that surface loop wants to follow feature line, that highlight, or that change in light direction. And then we just need to figure out how to close this off. So let's take that one. Let's just do a complete loop down to the bottom here. I'll add one here just to give it some shape. And then maybe another one here. I think I'll actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate that entire thing here. I'm going to go and so there's a quad there in that corner. So it's kind of you get in this situation where you have sort of lines this direction and then this direction. So you want to kind of try and figure out how to make a patch that kind of sits in between them, and at some point it's going to do this basically. And so typically when you've got like something like that, you end up with a quad in the corner like this. So just only adding geometry where it needs to be added. In fact, I'm just going to go the other way here because I might need another one there. I think I do. In fact, I think I'm going to just pull these guys up here and add one last one here. Maybe I might change my mind about this in a second. No, that's probably okay. So I might need another edge loop closer to the center line. Let me see. Okay, that's okay. It's not overly complicated. I'm just going to smash that with the smoothing tool. Okay. Oh, it's going back on itself. That's obviously not right. Let's do one. So I've got these two here that kind of define. So there's one here that defines that slight negative in that surface, and then there's these two here that define that change in direction, and then there's another one here that kind of defines up to the end. It's possible that we might need another edge loop in this last segment here, but let's persevere without. Okay, I'm going to grab sphere to touch that loop, auto select the entire thing, and let go of that trigger, and then it frees it up. I want to duplicate it. Well, the reason for duplicating it is I don't want all this stuff, but I do want that whole edge there. So I'm going to delete this, delete all these guys, and then I've got this edge that I can just pull around. So I'm going to then just trying to mirror the points that are down here on the front here. And again, we'll move all these around again eventually. I'm sure. So I'm going to do one surface loop here that runs that follows the form. And does that want to go to? Where does that want to go to? Let's leave it for now. Maybe it's just going to do this. Yeah, it's probably that. That's it. It's. I mean, yeah. This is the whole gravity sketch. Is just it's solving this topology layout puzzle, but it becomes quite intuitive after a while, especially if, like you guys, you're clay modelers, so you kind of understand sort of patch layout, surface layout, and how you would build kind of something in theoreticals before adding radii. And now I just got to close up this last little corner here. It's probably this is. What's that going to do? That is a solution. It looks okay, I guess. The radius increases as we get to the end here, so I'm going to use the smoothing brush just to widen those out a little bit. Okay. I'm not going to do the inside. That's it for now. So there you go. There is our. Oh, go on, I'll do the inside. Can't stop. It's too easy, probably. So I'm just going to grab that whole thing, duplicate it, and pull it across. And then there you go. So as simple as that. Maybe this can. Where's our image? Okay, so it looks like well, I haven't got the inside of the mouth quite right there, but anyway, you get the idea. So I hope that was useful, guys, and let me know if you've got any questions. And yeah, keep on keeping on. Cheers, guys.